feeling down.
So I've been working with something called culture repair, which in essence is really acknowledging that the loving connection that we're all meant to have as human beings was not supported. And as we grow up and our longings and instincts as human beings, we know that's supposed to happen, and then the people in our lives disappoint us. Disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, we begin to lock down and we begin to create maybe sort of an alter ego, another version of ourselves that is no longer rooted in the truth of our being. But we don't know that there's something wrong because everybody around us is doing exactly the same thing. Our parents weren't given it either, neither were our grandparents, and so we don't even know who to blame, but we feel something's wrong with the human family. But then nobody else is saying anything about it, so then we think something must be wrong with me. And so we shut down, and then we just search for identity by having people that we call friends, and we start to move in groups, and then pretty soon we're all just kind of complicit. You know, we just all go to sleep together. And when we begin to work with people, they begin to reconnect. We reactivate that basic human instinct to be connected through a model we call culture repair, also called village building. And through the art of mentoring, we start to pull on those things that were going like this when they were little, and we're waiting for the hand of the elder to grab and pull, but they locked in. So we just create systems and processes to do that for people. And as these things awaken, a new field of love and connection is generated. And as that happens, their gift begins to surface, the gift of their own beingness, which isn't a vocation or a career or a job description. It's really about them in their essence. But as that comes up, as Michael Meade, the mythologist, says, up comes the wound right with it. And the wound is this acknowledgement and recognition. It's archetypal. It's been there for humanity forever. But in shattered cultures, the wounds are even greater. But as they return to connection, and they begin to hear the voices of nature again, and they begin to have communication with the clouds and the rain and the birds and the animals, they just break open. They move into this really deep space of sadness and sometimes anger, and they want to be mad at whoever didn't give them what they didn't get. But we really have to teach them forgiveness at that time, because their mom and dad didn't mean to do that either, and it goes way back, in some places maybe back to, 9 AD or something, when some terrible conquest occurred from one tyrant over a native people, but it's happened all over the world, and it's still happening today.
Every time I turn around, there's something new.
My friend Chris Schaefer, he was at nature in his place he liked to sit every day, which we call a sit spot, but he would go there every day. And he would learn from the birds he saw each day, and it was always the same juncos and the same sparrows, and he developed relationships with individuals, right? And he was a naturalist and an ecologist and a scientific kind of guy, but he was also a songwriter and was very musical. And one day, after a couple of years of sitting there, a song came through, and it came through all at once, and he managed to record it on a little handheld recording device, so he captured this song. And the third verse of the song, and the song is called Feeling Down, which means feeling the earth, not feeling depressed. But the third verse, he said, it took me 2 years to realize what it meant. Okay? He sang it for 2 years before he suddenly saw. And the song says in the third verse, something strange, a sound like raindrops falling when the sun is shining bright. There's not a cloud in sight, something strange. I hear my people crying, and it makes me feel bad to see my people sad all around me, flowing like a river through the countryside. I gather all the tears my people cry. I take them to the ocean where they're purified. Maybe then my people, they will smile. And I'll sit here unknown all the while.
Flowing like a river through the countryside.
Referring to the fact that the people who go back into the connection journey are often doing it alone, and the people around them don't really appreciate what they're doing. You know, it's like, what are you getting weird? What are you doing this nature thing for? You know, because not everyone wants to wake up. You know, they don't want to wake up.
And I'll sit here unknown.
But this is the relationship between culture repair and tending our hearts and tending our grief and teaching people that grieving is a beautiful form of expression, and it's not something we reserve for a funeral when we've lost a loved one, but it's something that we bring into our everyday. Maybe multiple times a day we grieve, you know. And ironically, grieving happens in two powerful ways. One is through tears, and the other is through deep laughter shared with loved ones, right? These are both forms of grieving among the indigenous people, and they're practiced and practiced, so it keeps the connection system attuned. You know, we need to grieve to clean those connections. You know, grieving, the tears are the water of life, and they wash the filaments clean, that we can have a pure connection. So.
Feeling down.